What's up, guys? It's Rick Ginn. You're on the Rick Ginn YouTube channel. Today, we're talking all about liens. And this is a fun one because I'm actually a little bit of a geek on liens. And I want to deep dive into it and show you how liens relate to wholesaling. And I'm going to show you why, just like I show you with government lists, liens are the smoke when you're looking for motivated wholesaler lists. What's up, guys? All we do is talk about wholesaling on here. Before I get into it, I want to go over a couple things and just do a couple housekeeping items. Number one, there's a lot of talk about wholesaling and these proposed bills. And I believe North Carolina is the latest state under attack. And listen, guys, you got to understand, wholesaling is like 98% free to go in all 50 states. Are there little nuances to the laws? Yes. And you should be familiar with them in your state. You should not rely on me. You should not rely on Zach, and you should not rely on anybody else on the internet to tell you what the law is. Just read the damn thing. And 9 times out of 10, there's such subtle little difference between a disclosure and how you market or find a cash buyer that you don't need me. You don't need a lawyer. You don't need all these people to tell you what to do. There's just a certain amount of people in the world that will go, oh my God, something's being proposed and it's going to kill wholesaling. And, after about 10 titles like that, like you can only cry wolf so many times. So I've had this been going on since 2003. Are they making changes? Yes. You got to understand. Life is forever about changes. You used to be able to do way back in the day, real estate with no license, that's completely different now. But I'm saying, I'm not here to get into all the hoopla with it, but I'm getting a lot of panicked people. And listen, if you react based on how you see a video or something like that, if you're in that particular state, read it. Even if you have nothing going on in your state, like Florida, we don't really have anything on the books right now. I constantly keep updated with it. I reach out to my lawmakers, my legislators, the House seats. You should know them all. You should be in their office. Shouldn't be me and Zach telling you to go see your representatives, which I believe we said loud and proud 3 years ago. And that's the best way to do it. So we all have to do our part. Now, one thing I'll tell you this. I don't believe anybody who truly loves wholesaling wants any of the stuff to go through. But we got to stop. There's no sides to pick on this. Like, the only side is inactivity. Now, how you go about it, then you can slice this bread 1,000 different ways. The bottom line is we can sit there and argue this stuff. So number one, get involved with your state, be loud, be proud, and don't let a few bad wholesalers ruin it for all. Honestly, if it was up to me, the regulation of the wholesaling industry would start with the coursework, but we'll never get that. Just like politicians, don't look to me, look to everybody else. Anybody who has over $600 in income, but I'm going to take this money, because a lot of these bad tactics were taught in the courses. So there should be full disclosure and transparency in the courses before we start trying to regulate people and ask them for money. And that's my opinion. I'll leave it there. But guys, do me a favor, just read the law. It's not that complicated. And people always doing these interpretations. They think they got to get a lawyer. Guys, go out and wholesale and help people. Here's the only thing you have to remember when it comes to wholesaling. And by the way, every business has some form of wholesaling. Like I just bought 200 gallons of paint for a commercial building of mine. I bought it wholesale. Why? Because I get a better pricing and I pay a guy to represent me. I think I paid him $750 to get that 200 gallons of paint, but he gets me the right product that meets the specifications, drops it off on site, and makes it super convenient for my vendors and saves me time. And most importantly, time and money. That's all we do in wholesaling. So if you understand that, you know how to do this. We've got to stop panicking about every little law that comes about. Your federal right in the Constitution, I believe it's the Amendment 10. It says states shall not interfere into your constitutional right to enter into a contract. Now, I believe that stands up eventually in the Supreme Court. There's a reason why nobody to date, all these videos that come out, and I believe all these laws are ridiculous. We all agree with that. I don't care what side you're on. Nobody's ever been held accountable of it. The ones particularly coming in North Carolina, it's so badly written, in my opinion. I'm confused. It seems like anybody can get out of a contract. And I believe it's going to be real problematic for the state of North Carolina if they pass this bill without some serious remedies to it, because it says basically, unless you're going to buy the home to live in, that you can be defined as a wholesaler. And defining someone as a wholesaler, that's crazy. What about this? I believe that everybody, in theory, if anybody had any type of distress situation, foreclosure or anything, I think anyone should have up to 3 to 5 to 7 days to get out of a contract, because I do believe people change their mind. I do believe some people make a bad decision. That's fine. But 30 days absolutely would destroy real estate as we know it, would fill up the court systems. And the only people that are going to benefit to this, listen to me, are lawyers. So I don't care what side of the argument you're on. We all need to just get on the same page. Let's not do what politicians have done to our country and pick which side of the fence you're on. How we fix it, the problem is lobbyists, in my opinion, are just glorified like lawyers and real estate agents that take your money and tell you they're going to make change, and we have no idea. I don't know how to manage a lobbyist. I don't know anybody who knows how to manage a lobbyist. Most lobbyists are managed by the tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions. If you don't believe me, just go ask a NAR. And that's my challenge. Throwing money at a lobbyist, I don't know what's going to want to do. Now, go get 50 or 75 sharp, I don't know about sharp, but wholesalers to show up at your state offices and let them hear your voices and your concerns. Now that's a great starting ground. And if everybody's starting each state, I know they're talking about doing some grassroots state stuff, which I actually support. I think everybody should get involved and see what the temperature, because it's usually politicians that are getting feedback from their constituents saying this is a problem. Do we have problem wholesalers out there? Absolutely. But I think the problem starts with a lot of the coursework. And I've noticed that as we want to clean this industry up, which we can do a better job, is why don't we start with the coursework? Why don't somebody show their coursework before we even charge for it? And maybe we can change the expectation of get rich free, don't do anything. You don't have to put up any money. I've even see people using thumbnails like, I stole this house. That stuff is really put a black eye on us. I get it. I'm on YouTube too. And I know sometimes we reach a little bit far for hits, but if everybody just starts in their own backyard and you take care of yourself and your state, we can go from there. My challenge is not one person in the United States is yet to go to jail for wholesaling or even get a fine. Yeah, the whole thing happened in Arizona. People committed felonies. When you commit a felonies, it's past wholesaling, and they should be disciplined for it. And every time it comes up, that's the same old story, and we got to stop it. Because I'm going to be honest with you, if this North Carolina thing sticks the way they wrote it, how do I define who's a wholesaler? Like, who's to say what? And that means if you're going to write a lease option, you're going to write an option, a sandwich, you're going to do a subject to, they're all on the table. All North Carolina's off. I just don't know, unless you go through a licensed realtor and do a straight up funding. I think almost anybody could get out of the contract the way that laws are written. So I'll pay attention to it. But guys, I'm not going to waste my time and focus on the 3% of the market that's constraining me. That is a very limited mindset. Now I know they're obviously pushing, but guys, I've seen this play out before in society. Is you have to do what you can do. If you're going to constantly obsess and do things you can't control, past you writing a letter, past you getting a group together, go representing it, and you getting your voice heard, don't mess with things you can't control. Yeah, it's just going to drive you nuts. Take that same effort and goes towards wholesaling. Listen, guys, there will always be a way to take down a real estate deal, subject to lease options, wraparounds, executory contracts, installment contracts. I can go on all day. You know how many laws? It would take them 50 years if they worked every day to write against everything going it. So I don't want to spend time telling you what you can't do. It's a waste of time. Most of the entire United States is wide open for wholesaling, and I want you to go and attack it. So, but the simple mindset's going to just restrict to the things that are being tightened up. And keep in mind, these are the same people that went hog wild wholesaling, didn't care, like, whatever, let's pull people in, let's extend contracts. And now they're kind of like, I told you it's coming. And these are the same people that told you coursework on it too. So read your laws, you get involved locally, get a group, organize with your local RIA groups and stuff like that. And anything at a state level, I'm fine with. National, a whole different story. And honestly, guys, until someone gets attacked, until someone puts up a legal fund, which I 100% support, because all we need, I don't think you can go state to state and hire a lobbyist to argue and give them $400,000 or $500,000 and think you're going to do some damage with it. I think they're going to take a lot of our money because we're not experienced lobbyists. But give me the meanest legal team, give them a retainer fee. Once a year, you give them a little bit of money, you build up an account, you put in an interest-bearing account, and we'll give it 5 years. And you guys can vote on a board. Just get a board that represents the entire community. And when somebody gets sued for one of these ridiculous laws that goes against federal authority, which is written in your Amendment 10 in the Constitution, then you hire a lawyer, whatever, it costs $200,000 or $300,000 defense. You win it, you have case law. I guarantee you this. All these things go away. That's how law works. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not here to give anybody legal advice. But if people ask me all the time, hey, Rick, how would you fix it? Number one, I would just understand my state. I would read the laws and I wouldn't take gossip. And I definitely wouldn't fall for anybody's videos or articles or blogs. And then if you're confused from there, talk to your title company. If you're confused from there, talk to a real estate attorney again. Get involved with your local representatives. Let your voice be heard, and then go wholesale. So some of you guys spend more time on trying to figure out what's legal and what's not legal all throughout the country when all you need to go out and do is help people. And remember this, at the end of the day, the main person that's going to run you under the bus in wholesaling is your seller. If you treat your sellers like gold, you help them out and you solve their problems, you make a lot of money in wholesaling. If you are looking to screw a homeowner over and you're looking to take advantage of them, you will be made the example of. And if there's a legal fund and I put money into it, say I throw 50 grand into it, which I got no problem doing, I'm not going to help you. I won an affidavit from the homeowner, said you did everything you could to help them out. And hey, Johnny bought my property exactly what he said he would do. And I don't know why this is a big stake. That will be part of my checklist when I do it. I'm not going to take it. I believe one of the biggest problems we've had with wholesaling is, number one, novations have somehow they've been lumped into wholesaling, and it has nothing to do with wholesaling. And it's given us wholesalers a horrible black eye. These novations are slippery. They're tricky. They're legal documents. And it really, in my opinion, it's a complete manipulation of the law. Is wholesaling that? No, wholesaling is pretty transparent. I put it under contract. I sell my equitable interest. Novation, my God, between the listing, the power of attorney, the repairs, the replacement of one contract, really the first contract's just a fraud and everybody knows it. And a lot of states don't even want to do it. And now we have specialized title companies, which just makes my skin cringe, that will do these specialized novations. They'll do these subject to and write you title policies. Guys, it doesn't exist. So novations have been a massive problem in wholesaling. And now we're all getting black eyes because someone decided they didn't want to wholesale and they got scared. So they found a way that they could pay more, make the system more confusing. More deals fail in novations than any other type of real estate contract. Not my numbers, the national numbers. Go to any title company. They all confirm that. Number two, the recording of memorandum of affidavits. It's really bad in wholesaling. If you think you can force a seller to do something by recording a legal document, you do not understand how the law works. Have I recorded some? Yes, but I have absolutely been taken to the table at the title company and someone doesn't want to close. We once again reemphasize our position and go from there. I've even gone to court multiple times and I've even lost one. What I felt wasn't even my fault and I still lost. And guys, I funded the deal. I put up escrow. I did everything and they still found a little chain break in it. And that cost me $15,000 to defend. So stop recording memorandums. Guys, the novations, you want to do them, that's great. But if somebody wants out, let them out and release them from the power of attorney, the listing agreement and everything. And a lot of this stuff would go away. Why all this crap's got tied up in the wholesaling, I don't know. I've never come from a society where we force people to do stuff. Do we have difficult sellers? Absolutely. Difficult sellers need more time, they need more love, and they need more empathy than ever. We're solving big problems, and it's normal for them to get nervous. But you can't get nervous and freak out and do it. So remember, at the end of the day, the only person that's going to run you under the bus in wholesaling is going to be your seller. And if your seller wants out, and especially if they're in a foreclosure or a distress situation, if you cannot calm their nerves down, let them go. Like the old saying, find out if somebody loves you by letting them go and see if they come back. And don't be surprised if that doesn't happen in wholesaling. I do it all the time. So that's my disclosure on that. And I want you guys to understand it's these novations and the recording of memorandums have really hammered. I don't know why it's got, I see why the memorandums got tied up in wholesaling. And once again, this is mostly led by the instructors of this business. And that's where we have to clean it up. I have never, ever gone on record and tell someone to record a memorandum on a property. You are clouding title. And keep in mind, if you are wrong, you are going to get sued, and you're going to get sued for damages. The minimum is around 30 grand, and that's a minor lawsuit. I've seen it for as much as a couple $100,000. If you impede the seller's right to sell their house and you were wrong, you're responsible for the lawyer fees plus damages, and judges do not like it. So keep it in mind. I just want everybody to know. So let's talk about liens and so like in the state of Florida, in the counties that surround me, it's gotten so bad that the checklist to record something on public record is insanity. So a standard memorandum cannot just be recorded anymore. So the good news is they require you have to provide proof of ID along with it. Obviously a notary, and there's some sort of supplementation form you have to fill out. And you just can't do it anymore. And I support it. We're going to talk about it in here, but so one of the reasons why I'm leading into this, when we talk about liens, it's all about recordings on public record. So what a perfect way to segment into this and talk about how liens work and how everything goes down. So if you guys join me tomorrow at 1 o'clock, I'm going to go detail into these wholesale laws. And like, we just can't panic about it. Like, change is coming. I used to have an old brick cell phone. Like, I used to have a landline. I was very happy. I was confused when the change happened, but change is always going to happen. So we always stay 3 or 4 steps ahead of it. And I believe this North Carolina law will be very interesting, because when you read it, it's clear but ambiguous at the same time. Meaning, okay, if I'm licensed and I tell them I'm a wholesaler, then they have rights to do this and that. And it's like, listen, 7 days to me is a reason. 30 days? You got to be kidding me. That means anybody who wants to complain about a real estate contract, they could claim it was a wholesale contract and get out of anything. That's what I would do if I was a lawyer or a homeowner. And so I actually think, in a way, the way this law is written, it would actually work against most North Carolina real estate contracts. I believe there's got to be a limitation. If somebody enters into an agreement, if somebody's predatory or misrepresents, I believe they should have rights, and there should be some sort of, like, at least hearing for it. You can't just void out contracts. What's the point of writing a contract? So guys, there's bad teachers, there's bad cops, there's bad UFC fighters, there's bad wholesalers, there's bad painters. We can't regulate everything in life, or it just gets to the point where the government controls everything. And guys, I don't know about you, but you've seen how that works out. You saw how that worked out with you know what, and we find out how bad all it is for you. And the last thing I want to do is start going into it. But today we're talking all about liens. And so when we talk about liens, we have to ask ourselves, what is a lien? And a lien is whenever you record something on public record. Now, I'm going to give you a little learning lesson here of real estate because I've been in it 23 years. What's the definition of a lien? I'll put it on the bottom here. A legal claim against a property that's used as collateral, also known as a security interest, to satisfy a debt. It is recorded. This is the key to a lien. If it is not recorded, it is not a lien. So the official county records, which we have over almost 3,300 counties in the country, this is how they keep track of everything. Now, a lien can be recorded against a person. It can be recorded against a property. It can be recorded against the business. Anything on public record where they search your name associated with a business ID, EIN number, or a social security number, or an address, and or can be recorded. Now, why are liens so important with wholesaling? Because guys, liens are nothing more than disputes and problems. And when we have disputes and problems, you and me have opportunities as wholesalers. And that's why I love liens so much. And remember, a lien is recorded in public record. Now, why is it so important to understand this? Let's go back to this. When someone records a lien, it is basically, think of it as a memorandum. It is something on record that we call clouds the title. And clouds the title just means like if you're looking out your window and it was like really cloudy, like there's something, you ever see that when it's like really, well, hell, I'm in South Florida, when it's really humid and like sometimes it's hot outside, you turn on the air and the windows get foggy and cloudy. And you go, man, I can't quite see. Or when it's raining, it's hot in the car. It's clouding. That's how we call it, clouding the title. Until that cloud is cleared, you hit the defrost button, you hire a lawyer, you find someone out, you can't clear the title, which means you can't sell the property. That's why you've got to understand how the order of a lien works in real estate. Now, let's talk about wholesaling and liens and why they're a perfect marriage. So a lien is something that's recorded in public record that basically says either we have a problem or there's a debt owed. So a lien is just where anybody can publicly search it and say there's a problem. Now you can look up any lien. I can look up any lien. The banks can look up any liens, underwriters, and obviously title companies. We're all looking at the same thing. Some people have levels of expertise past what you and me can look up, and you can do what we call a pencil search. And I do this, and I encourage you to do this on all your wholesale properties. When you get it under contract and they tell you, go, well, I think my brother might have recorded this, or I think I quit claim that property or something like that. Just go in your county records, the official records, and look it up, for God's sakes, and see what you're dealing with. Sometimes you guys don't even have to wait till it gets to the title company. Now, I let the seller tell me what the issues are. I don't want to freaking waste my time, but a lot of times the sellers don't tell you the entire truth. So don't be scared to do a pencil lien lookup. And that's simply going into whatever, Google or whatever you do, go into your official records for your county and then search the seller's last name, period. And let me tell you what, I find out more crap about people. Like I've seen liens where they go 19 pages. I go, oh my God. Now, when I see 19 pages of arrest affidavits and felony records, I know I've got issues on my hands. But you can find out about it. You can find out how often they go to court. You can find out how sue happy they are. Guys, this is good stuff. Now, I don't want you to waste your time doing it, but like if I got something that's problematic, I'd rather take 10 or 15 minutes and do a little research before I get, like, if I tell you the seller is the only person that can run you under the bus in wholesaling, and say the guy is already a little bit out there, like what he's saying is not making sense, look it up. And I've seen people who chronically sue and represent themselves. I will not do business with these people. It's called a pro se or per se, whatever it's called. And I actually got sued by one of these clowns. I gave him 10 grand just to go away. That's how bad it was. And there's some people who make a living doing that. I recently had somebody just sue me on a commercial property because they fell off like one of those, what do they call it? Those uni boards. But it was like an old person, like much older than I was. And they sued me for like 200 grand. And my insurance company gave them like 50 to go away. They're like, it's just the cost of business. I'm like, and then I looked her up. She had 9 other lawsuits out there. So the whole purpose of liens, if you understand it. Now, I don't like the ones with really long ones with child support and all this other stuff. Because honestly, you don't want to pay for your child. You want to pay for your wife's alimony. You want to pay for this, that. You got all these outstanding. Some of the ones that are some of the biggest red flags I see are child support payments. I'm like, listen, dude, pay for your kid. Sorry. I'm like a big fan of that. Sorry. And then the other one is people that don't pay their sales tax. They collect the money. There was a recent instance I saw where someone ran unfortunately, this was in my area, where they did payroll and they deducted all the employees' payroll taxes, their FICA, Social Security, Medicare, for years, filed false returns and kept like $20 million. I'm like, you're going to get caught doing that. And it's just absolutely nuts what people will try to get away with it. Now he's got a $20 million lien against him. Definitely do jail time and then has to do restitution. So that's an example of what liens do it. And the reason why liens do it is you can find someone's motivation. Now, some liens I find extremely difficult, and we're going to go through today. I want to go through the liens that actually make sense, the ones you can actually make at least 15 grand or more on. I'm very, very one-sided on this because I've tried every lien that's out there. I'm going to show you the ones that are going to waste your time and the ones you need to take a Rolodex too. And you guys are going to learn something really clever here. Everything we talk about, the stuff I talk about, every court record, every recording is basically a lien. So they're going to be interchangeable. And a lot of people don't understand that. And I will give you a perfect example of how it works. You got to understand liens means problems for the seller. And how a lien gets recorded is people get into an argument, whatever it is. It could be sales tax. It could be property tax. It could be someone didn't pay on their mortgage. It could be, say, somebody got in an argument over a contract and they go to court and they fight it out. Or either one doesn't show up and one gets a full judgment against the other. And then they record the lien. Then the lien by the court's authority is imposed upon them. And how do they impose it? Typically by foreclosing on the asset, which is the house. So keep in mind, when we talk about liens, these are problems for sellers because what happens if I absolutely ignore the lien? Someone's going to eventually foreclose on that property and take the money out of the equity of that house. And that's where when someone buries their head in the sand on a lien and they don't do anything, it's not going to go away. It's usually just going to compound. The balance is going to grow, the debt. And eventually someone can take legal action and really put them in a bad position. And they don't do it. The judge imposes it. The sheriff shows up. They announce the sale and the house is auctioned off. Very, very shocking. It is very tough to do, but it's going to happen eventually. All liens sooner or later when it happens if the property doesn't get sold. So liens equal problems for sellers. So if we have problems with these sellers, guess what I want you to do? That's right. You are going to solve their problem, but you're going to have to be resourceful on how you solve the problem. Now, I'm going to give you all the different types of liens and we're going to talk about it. But I'm going to tell you, there's one lien I just really try to avoid at all costs because in my 23 years, I'm going to be honest with you, I've never really gotten anywhere with these types of deals. And this is not my only opinion. It's most people's opinion. And it's basically when it comes to divorce. So when you could look up the divorce decrees, just prepare for pain. So I'm going to give you statistics. Most people get divorced or when they have children under the age of 16, 17. And whenever you have kids come, it becomes very emotionally involved. And my typical phone call in our office, which is on a monthly basis. Hey, I got a house. I just need to get rid of it as fast as possible. Like the red flags always goes up right away with our staff. And once we hear the word divorce is until we talk to the soon to be ex, we don't even move forward with the paperwork. Why? Because there's such a high failure rate. Because typically one wants to just get out of town and the other one wants like $1 million. And when we have people so far apart, I'm good at talking people, but I ain't that good. So when you get two people upset with children, I just don't find a lot of success in there. And I get it. Like there's two sides of the story. I'm only getting partially of one of it. And usually the other one doesn't want to tell you it because Johnny found you. And if you're with Johnny, I'm not going to deal with you. So I don't do divorce. So that's the one I'm not going to talk about today. So if you guys are okay with that, we're going to move forward on it because that one is absolutely brutal. So, so let's walk through some of the liens. And I could go on probably 4 or 5 hours on it. The first one, which is easy, is a tax delinquency. Once it becomes delinquent after a certain amount of time, depending on what county you're in, the city will do either a tax certificate, which basically they raise the money, and then they're going to put a lien against the property with compounding interest. I love these things. They're absolutely great. You guys can find them. You can go to your county and look them up. Now, here's the good news is you only got to pull this one like once a year. I like to find ones that are at least 2 years behind. The further behind, the better, and filter them out by your average median home price in that market. Because rich people like me, we finance our taxes all the time. I'll pay a 2% penalty to float a couple $100,000. It's not that big of a deal to me. Because maybe I'm moving another piece of real estate and I have to do some temporary funding and it only cost me half the price by using my tax money. Cost me 2%. Who cares? So I'm not the only one that I see. Some of the wealthiest properties usually have taxes back at least a year, if not 2 years. So I'm going to filter out 2 years, average median price, go to town. I love these types of properties. And I really like the home owner occupied ones because those are the ones that usually need your help. Now, keep in mind, someone who gets behind 2 years on their property tax, that usually indicates a pretty significant issue. And after 2 years, the odds of them solving it are not great because they would have paid it after the first 12 months. So it is an indication. It is the first sign of smoke. And when whoever can get to the smoke first can help put out the fire, and that's you, the wholesaler. So tax delinquencies will always be my favorite. That will never go away. They're here forever. They're not going anywhere. You need to go from there. Now, a lot of you guys are going to be surprised to hear this, but code violations wind up being under liens. Now, they don't start out that way. Let me explain. It's important you understand this process. I love when we get to actually teach something instead of me just telling you guys to go out and do stuff. Code violations, you get your list and you pull them. They're a pain in the butt to pull, I admit it. Overcome resistance with persistence. But once you get this list and they're on that list, they have been given a warning. Usually a homeowner gets 20, 30 days to rectify a problem. High grass, boarded up windows. After that, a code officer goes out there and meets with them again. Did you clarify it? And if not, they get a notice on their door. Then they get a notification to attend a special magistrate. And this is like, how do I say it? This is like a rinky-dink version of like a courtroom setting. And basically they take a couple hours each month and they hear all the cases. And if you want to fight the case, you think it's unjust or you think it's improper, you have to go there and usually present evidence, photos, documentation, paperwork, all that stuff. By the way, magistrates, if you show up, they're extremely forgiving. Extremely forgiving. When I first started out wholesaling, one of my specialties was find people in the code violations. One of my most common ones with people where somebody passed away. This is before I even understood what probates was. And she said, listen, my husband passed away. He passed away 2 years ago. After he passed away 6 months ago, she goes, to 6 months after he passed away, I was so stressed. I didn't know what to do. He hired the lawn man and the lawn got high and the city came out and cut it. And I didn't know. And I got a letter on my door, but I was overwhelmed and I never heard from anybody else again. And then 2-3 years went by. I hired a lawman. I got him to cut it. And they put a fine, ready for this, $100 a day on their property. I think it was for 3 years. So the number was, it was like $30,000. And so I felt so compelled to help this little old lady because she was the sweetest. She made the transaction so easy. I said, let me try to get that 30,000. Let me see what I can do. So I got a special application because it was so old. If you do anything within usually 90 days, they're like, okay, just don't let it happen again. And you look like a hero as a wholesaler. Now, I used to recruit people at my title company to do this for me. Actually go to the hearings. They would do the evidence and then I would pay them to do it. In the beginning, I did it. Guys, I did this all the time. It was one of the reasons I became so good at wholesaling is I just help people solve problems. Now, I see a $30,000 lien. I'm like, and the lady gave me such a great price, I felt obligated just to get rid of her lien. She was willing to pay it. She was upset about it. I go, it's not right. I got there. We went through the paperwork. We got it cut down to $3,000, 30 grand to $3 grand. Win. Voila. And that's what we did. And it was common sense. Her husband passed away. She was stressed. He took care of all the bills. Nobody ever contacted her back. There's no documentation. And she's maintained the loan ever since. Here's the checks canceled. They had it cut every 2 weeks. We just think the fine's excessive and it's causing duress to our tax-paying citizen. And guys, if you go in with that attitude, a lot of times you can fix just about anything. Now, keep in mind, they don't become a lien until after the magistrate hearing. And then after the magistrate hearing, whatever the outcome is, either they waive the fine, which is great, or they go 95% of the time, nobody shows up to the hearing. And then they give it to the city attorney. What's the city attorney do? He now takes it and goes and records the lien. They put a lien against the property and it's an open-ended lien. It's anywhere from $20 to $100, $150 a day until they rectify this situation. Some of them, it usually cap out now, thank God. And that's it. And once it becomes on the lien, then they got a real problem. Now, there's two trains of thought here. I like to catch them before they actually get into the lien because I feel I have first shot at them. But you could be the one that chases the people down with the liens. Sometimes they're harder because they don't even know about it, or so many people have chased them down like you're late to the show. It's whatever you want to do. But if you understand how liens work, we go from tax delinquencies, code violations. Let's move to the next one. You ready? Utility liens. God, I love these things. So a utility lien is basically when someone records utilities. That's going to be water, or basically electric. I'd like to keep it those. Are there other ones? Yeah, there's natural gas, LP gas, all this other stuff. But like, for instance, if somebody hasn't paid their water bill, it gets shut off. Now, the key here is you want to have a public utility department, and then you can find these liens and request the water shutoff list, the WSO list. Now, if they're private, you're not going to get it. Now, if they're private, you can wait till they record a lien. And once they record a lien, you can go after them. So like, I have a city just up the street here. So we have Florida Power and Light. Now, thank God Florida Power and Light is such a big company. They don't record liens against properties. But whenever we have a city, like I believe the city of Lake Worth, I believe Fort Pierce, they have their own utilities department. If you don't pay that bill in X amount of time, they put a lien on the property. Now, good, bad, or indifferent, once there's a lien, there's an opportunity for me to go in and buy it. Like, for me to find distress signals to buy that property. Keep in mind, a lot of tenants leave without paying their water bill and the landlord gets stuck with it. They can't turn it back on. I actually don't really have a problem with them recording the lien, but like some of these cities have like $500 to $600 deposits every time you put a renter in there. And that is a real pain in the butt in some of the cities we do it here. So I prefer like the bigger accounts. I would love to hear how Texas does it. Texas does a bit out how they do utilities. I find it very fascinating. We don't have a lot of options in Florida. It's basically FP&L and it's FP&L. What can I say? I think they're in bed with the state because they all set the pricing, and I think it's ridiculous how it works. But that's an example of utilities. I love utilities because if you don't have water to the house, you don't have power to the house, You ain't got a house that's going to have somebody living in it and you can't produce income with it. Guys, wherever I see that smoke, whoever can get out and put that fire first, you, the wholesaler, that's how you win in wholesaling. So I gave you the two examples. That's mostly water and electric. I've heard some of you guys with like natural gas, LP gas, liquid petroleum, whatever. I'm not going to get into specifics on it, but understand that. So now I'm going to give you one that you're going to find very interesting here. Ready for this? I'm going to throw this one up. A lot of you guys don't realize Lis pendants are nothing more than a lien. What's a lis pendants? It is the formal announcement of a lawsuit on a property. It's not just mortgages. People can dispute about a lot of stuff on a property. A lis pendants is the official, I think it's like a fancy Latin word, and it just says we have an argument. And until that argument's clarified, we're not going to, the title is up in the air. It's clouded. So when you have a lis pendants, just to let you know, that is a lien too. And you need to understand that. Remember, that is the formal setting. Now, there's one better than a lis pendants if someone gets in an argument, especially with a bank in regards to the mortgage. It's going to be the notice of default, the NOD. That's my favorite. And a notice of default, once again, it's like a pseudo lien. That's why I put it up there, because it goes on record. Remember, a lien is anything put on public record for the public to search. If you can see it, that sucker's a lien. The only way a lien can hit is it's got to be on the official county records for it to be recognized. So let me give you a little lesson on liens here too. If a property goes into foreclosure, okay, say Rick Ginn is the borrower, and say Bank of America is the mortgagee, put the mortgage out on it. We're named in the lawsuit. That's it. Once the lawsuit starts, anybody who adds their name after the fact, like gives a loan or anything like that, unless they go on official records, unless they notify the courts and tell them everything that's going on, their lien is not recognized. And when the foreclosure is completed, that lien is null and void. So how you record stuff in the order of pecking is imperative in real estate. Let me give you an example. Is like when people even record memorandums, the date is everything. I once had a property under contract. I put it under contract, and then somebody came in behind me and wrote another contract and convinced them. This was a licensed real estate agent, by the way, guys. Licensed real estate agent, offered him more money, had him go on a contract, recorded a memorandum, but they forgot my contract was dated before theirs. So they recorded a memorandum. I didn't record a memorandum. I met with the seller. I met with an attorney who met with the real estate agent and said, you're going to lose everything if you move forward with this. And she happily agreed to waive her right to do it, because she's probably going to do it to somebody else and she's going to get sued again. And it happens over and over. So the order you record something in a lien is everything. So whoever predates somebody, that's how it's set. Now, people get cute and they backdate contracts, but it's not that hard to figure out what the real date is on stuff these days. There's a lot of technologies to figure it out. And if you lie under oath and say you just backdate the contract, then you're committing perjury, and that can be a felony. So we have to be aware of it and follow the law on it. So notice of default, you have to understand that. Let me check my comments here. We're going to keep going. Okay, let's keep going on liens because I love it. Do you guys know probates are a lien? And you make a lot more than 15 grand with a probate. I'm not going to go into detail this. If you want to learn how to do this, go over to freewholesaling.com. If you don't know how to get there, my God, let me smack you over the head. I put it right here on the bottom. It's rolling on the bottom there. I love probates, guys. But once again, it is a lien put on the property until the title is cleared and it goes through the probate courts. They have a specific court for probates. Then and only then can you move forward with getting the property sold. So we won't get into details. If you want to learn it, I have an entire course in there and I give it away 100% for free. So people want to ask how we're cleaning up the wholesaling community. Why don't all influencers and all people that sell any type of course, free or paid, put it out to public so they can at least get an eyeball? Why don't you just put out the table of contents and put a third of the videos out there, what you do? I don't know. Or give, If we're going to tell sellers you got 3 days to pull out of a contract, we should have the same rights when we buy a wholesaler's course. I think that's extremely fair. See, we can't tell wholesalers you have to give them all this leeway, but then the ones that are going to buy the course, we give them no leeway. That makes no sense to me. So if everyone's listening to me, why don't we just do it fairly across the board? If we're going to pose a 3 or 7 day, which I think is more than fair for someone to back out of a wholesale contract, same thing with wholesale coursework. If you don't like it after 3 days, you get a full refund. Period. End of story. There you go. Man, I'm solving problems today. This is exciting. This is really exciting. Let's go to the next one. You ready? Mechanics liens. Ugh. Okay. I'm going to tell you a little bit on this on the mechanics liens. I don't like mechanics liens. I think they are the worst type of liens that you can go after, and I'll tell you why. Number one, there's a lot of people that will sell you mechanic lien leads because they're everywhere. They are the lowest level liens, and they're usually the crappiest lien. Why? The problem with most liens is the consent of the owner even knowing about it. Now, obviously, with a Liz Pendance or a notice of default, you should know it. Obviously, if it's any type of government entity or a taxing agency, you know about it. But when it comes to mechanics liens, did you know people record them without you ever knowing it? You know how many times I come up on a property and it's got a mechanics lien on it? It's happened more times than I admit to it. A landscaper can record a mechanics lien. A handyman can record it. Basically, most mechanics liens are usually 15 grand or less, depending on what your state's limits are. And most of them are handled in small claims court. Usually, I think most of them are like more under 10 grand, probably under 5 grand. And here's what happens. I'll give you a perfect example. I had a AC contractor go out to property recently. And I said, listen, hey, John, can you just give me a quote on replacing 2 5-ton ACs for that unit? Okay. Don't fix it. Just give me a quote. Give me an estimate. Everybody very clear on what an estimate. It doesn't mean I want you to work on it. Just give me a price. It's like searching on the internet. He comes back 2 weeks later. He gives me a price that's like double what the market rate is. I said, John, you're crazy. I can't do that number. Your estimate's rejected. Okay. He gives me a bill for like $200 like a month later, invoices me in my inbox. I said, John, what's this bill about? He goes, well, I looked at your AC, so I have to do a consultation. I go, no, I didn't ask for any of that. I go, unless you have my name, my signature in writing, I asked you just for a quick estimate. Your number was 2.5 times what the average other person is. I turned you down. He goes, don't worry, Rick. I'm recording a mechanics lien. I go, well, good. I go, if you want to get countersued, go ahead and do it. I don't consent. I didn't consent. And so what he can do is go down to the courthouse. I think he pays about $100, $150, and he records it. Very simple. And they take it. And I think mechanics liens should really, and without some sort of court order, they're just horrible. Anybody can record them. They're junk. They rarely ever stick. There's a reason why they do it. And they think they can hold you like shotgun, like you don't settle with me. So number one, avoid mechanics liens. They are literally a waste of time. They are low-level people that record stuff that usually there's a reason they weren't paid. They did a very, very bad job, or they just felt like they should get paid. And they believe that you can't sell the property till they're squared away. It's real simple. Say I got a $600,000 or $700,000 property and somebody records a $3,500 mechanics lien. And I know it's bogus. I didn't sign anything. I asked the guy for an estimate. He still did it. You can still close the property. You just put that money aside in escrow, and then you just go to small claims court. Either you represent yourself or you hire a lawyer to do it. And 98% of the time you get squashed, you get your money back. And here's the best part. If they lose, you can sue them for your legal fees. So the last person that done this to me, this happened to me at least a dozen times, is I charged him $4,600 in legal fees. And he wanted to argue the legal fees. I said, listen, if you sue me, there's going to be extreme pain. I didn't even ask for damages. I just wanted my legal fees back. My guy's $550 an hour. It was like 12 hours of preparation work. Sorry. But that's what happens when you sue people. And a lot of times these small businessmen, they get such a rush. They take more business than they know what to handle. And sometimes us investors have to move on. And I go, and you have to fire them, and they don't agree with it. And they always feel like they're going to record a mechanics lien. Guys, avoid these with the plague. They make no money. I don't like them. They're a waste of time. Everybody tries to sell you to them. I have never, listen to me, in my entire wholesaling career, I've never, ever gotten a deal off of a mechanics lien. They are junk. Don't do them. Now, that moves on to the next one. The construction liens, whole different ball game there, buddy. Construction liens are usually people that enter into contracts. And when they enter into contracts, they're legit, meaning two parties signed on the contract and they entered into it. And construction liens, they can be ugly. And when there's a construction lien, it ain't going to go away. It's usually over 15,000. And it's usually because they stopped either paying the contractor, didn't pay the subcontractors, or the homeowner did not pay the GC, get the bill done. GCs do have a lot more rights than obviously like a handyman or mechanic. And I've seen them recorded for millions of dollars before, but I do like these. They usually have big legal bills with them, but it is what it is. It is much better than getting a mechanics lien. I wouldn't touch those with a 10-foot pole. Now, let's do this. Hold on. Let me click this. Where is it? Oh, if you guys want to hop on a one-on-one, I forgot to put this in there. I'm going to go ahead and paste it in the comments. If you guys want to hop on one, you want to talk about a real estate deal, you need help with a deal, you want to talk about mindset, let's go. Let's do it. The next one is a mortgage. Yeah, mortgage is a lien. Mortgages are liens on the property. I wouldn't specifically tailor to that. I'd do a mortgage that's either in Liz Pendance, a Liz Pendance, or a notice of default. Kind of a trick question. I put it on there so you guys understand how a lien works, what's it used for, and how you can leverage great wholesale deals. So you've got, if you know a mortgage is nothing more than a lien recorded against a property, and they'll take that lien off when you satisfy the promissory note. That's it. Every lien has a yin and a yang. And if you understand that, it's perfect. I'm going to save the best for last, though, I promise. Next one. Judgment liens. God, these are painful ones. This isn't my last one, but these are painful ones. The reason for it, you have to understand, is these are ones that went to some sort of court adjudication. Either people showed up or they didn't, and they get summary judgment and they get a judgment dropped on them. And the judge goes, you owe this. And they record against your assets, which are going to start with your real estate assets, obviously first, and work their way down. And then there's lawyers that just hunt for this stuff, and they do a very, very good job. I have a lawyer in particular that helps whenever I get judgments against mostly tenants, and say they hammer a property, do $10,000, $15,000 of damage. Eventually, I don't care. Usually in 5 to 7 years, they're going to land a good job. They're going to get some sort of equity. And I am going to take it with everything I got, because if you're going to leave me in that and you're going to do it, unless you're going to work a deal out with me, I do not go away. I am a pain in the ass on this. I don't chase people around for small amounts. It's usually 10 grand or more. And when you don't pay your rent and you trash the place, I'm coming for you, because especially if you're in your 20s or 30s, eventually you're going to want to clean your life up, and you're going to have to clean the mess you made up with me eventually. And that's the beauty. Judgments follow everywhere. So here's how a judgment works, just for notice that. Judgments are good for 10 years, and then you can renew it another 10 years outside of a fraud judgment, which lasts forever. We're not talking about fraud ones. So when I have it, a sheriff, if you guys look up your local sheriff's departments, they have sales all the time. I buy property through sheriff sites. How does the sheriff get them? They usually get them from back child tax payments in other states. So if Johnny went from, say, Dallas, Texas, down to Boca Raton, Florida, that judge will put out a notification, and the local police department can actually enter into a adjudication process to auction off that house. And here's the crazy part. It doesn't go through the county courthouse system. The sheriff auctions it off. It's like a secret little window. And I found this out the hard way. I was in shock. So what I'd like you guys to do to put in your repertoire is reach out to it. The bigger the department, the better. If they're really small, not really worth it. But if you have a big sheriff department, if there's a huge IRS bill, sometimes child support, alimony, any type of restitution in the court system, a lot of those go through the sheriff. Now, I don't understand the entire process why the sheriff would foreclose it, but it is a much smaller auction block. And remember, the owner owns it until the day that sucker's auction. But man, they are super aggressive, and these aren't readily available publications. So check with your local sheriff's office. You'd be surprised. So you always hear about them seizing boats, seizing cars. Yes, they seize houses too. It's shocking. You think it would go through the county courthouse, but I'm just telling you, check with your local sheriff's office, because I do get 1 or 2 deals a year from it, but somebody has to keep tabs on it. And once it's on that list, I don't go to the auction, guys. That is not where the money it is. It is always in reaching out to the person who controls the deed, because until it's sold, they still have the right to get it sold. We just got to satisfy the debt and the liens on it. That's what we're talking about, is the liens on it today. So, last one, HOA liens. My God. So I'm in the state of Florida. I don't do Florida, obviously just Florida, but HOA stands for Homeowners Associations. For those of you guys that deal in condos, which if you're in Florida, avoid condos like the plague. There's significant issues going on with the condo. There's legislation that's passed since the building collapsed, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago in Miami, and they're requiring them to fund all the repairs on these condos, and some of them are so far behind. They figure the average bill for a condo owner is about $110,000, $125,000 per unit, and 81% of them are owned by senior citizens. So the law is kind of blowing up in their face, because nobody wants to buy a condo right now. Everyone's scared of the cost. So I own lots of condos too. It's going to take about 3 years to work out. So we're going to go through the same thing we did in 09 to 011. They were giving condos away in Miami. The same thing's happening. So what happens, a lot of these older buildings are going to be taken over by developers. A lot of people think this is a play to increase the property tax basis, and it's political. But I'm not to get into politics on it, but like I owned a building and they told me I had to set like $5 million aside plus pay the insurance. I'm like, you people are nuts. I'm not doing that. And so you got to understand, there is millions of units like that. And some of them are on the beach, and there is a price to live on the beach. It is called maintenance. And if you don't do maintenance, they fall apart. And a lot of these boards have been in neglect. But it's not fair if a little old lady moves in and then she paid $300,000 for a condo, and then she gets with a $120,000 assessment because nobody else did the right thing before. So how it works out, I don't know, but I'm just telling you, I don't care if you get a COA, which is a condo owners association lien. Avoid it like the plague, because it usually is indicative of worse problems. So HOA is the homeowners. These are typically your gated communities where they have all these rules. And guys, I don't know about you in Florida. These people got nothing but time on their hands on these boards. I've been part of them. I'm still part of one of them actively, which I own a personal residence. So I don't have a choice. But I mean, I got cited for the color of rocks in my landscaping once that stopped an entire sale. HOAs have special exceptions. They are only behind the property tax. They can actually supersede a mortgage. It's absolutely nuts. Now, in nicer communities, when big HOAs pile up and they're behind on their mortgage, especially if they are in list pendants, I will target HOAs of $10,000 or more, and I go to town on them. Why? Because I already know that property has to be sold, and nobody wants to eat the fees on it. And guess who wants to get that sold worse than anyone other than the homeowner? It's the HOA. They need their money. They don't get funded. They don't sell certificates. Did you know you have the right to go to an HOA and buy that lien? A little bit more of an advanced strategy, but I've done it. I absolutely love this because it can put you in control. But I use the lien instead of just buying the lien. I can do that now. I use it as to show me the smoke. And when I see a lot of smoke, listen, anybody behind 6 payments or less, I never mess with. Usually got to be at least a year longer. And some of these payments are $1,000 a month in Florida. And when I see a $10,000 lien and they record it, they're serious about it and they want to get it paid. I'm going to reach out to that homeowner right away. Why? Because I know I can hit it out of the park with it. I got to see what the issue is going with the house. If it's in a list pendants and a foreclosure and it's behind 10 grand, they need help. We just got to use the voice that we learn in wholesaling and help the homeowner out from that. Because the HOA, check this out. This is crazy. They can actually apply through the courts and foreclose on it before the mortgage, before the bank even does it. And they have full rights to do it. And what they do is try to force the banks to pay off like that mortgage, not pay off the mortgage, to pay off the HOA lien. If you ever want to do some research your HOA liens, HOA's rights in your state, you'd be blown away how powerful they are. HOAs have the right to borrow. They can actually get mortgages. They can do all sorts of stuff. They can get lines of credits. They have a lot of power. So it's basically, you got to understand, an HOA becomes its own identity through its own corporation. Now, most of them are nonprofit, but don't let that fool you. They will spend money on lawyers. Their number one expense is usually lawyers, obviously past the maintenance of the properties. I love HOAs because I find so many deals in HOAs. It just drives me nuts. So, okay, let's get on here, answer some questions, and let's get going. Let's see here. Duke Energy. Oh yeah. Okay. Duke. I don't know if they're associated with Florida, like that's a Carolinas company. So Gary, hey, if you got a good deal in Vero, because that's just up the street from me, reach out to me at sellmypaper.com and tell me what you got. It's got to be a good deal though. Like, guys, this last week, it was a little brutal. I ain't going to lie to you. I think we only did like one. I think one of them were definitely moving forward. The other one we're trying to make move forward. It was just, you guys submit realtor leads. I'm not a realtor. Like I teach the course freewholesaling.com. Please don't bring me stuff off the MLS. It's a waste of my time. It's not going to work. I'm not a miracle worker. Yes, I want you to make money. I want to make money. If you have a deal and you want to sell it, sellmypaper.com, put it in there. We'd be happy to take a look at it. But if you don't get a response or you get an automated response, it means you messed it up. It's just a really bad deal. I do not have time. Remember, I'm not the guy or gal that charges you $1,000, $2,000 to submit a lead. I mean, that is like pulling the carpet out from under you. It's embarrassing. It's, I don't know, borderline desperation in my opinion, but I'm just going to tell you the truth. And the beauty of how me and Zach do our wholesaling program is by not collecting these ridiculous fees from guys. We just tell you the truth. And I know sometimes the truth hurts. And as you know, with our United States government, like you rarely ever get the truth. And that's why everything's so shocking right now. But I'm just going to tell you the truth when it comes. So don't get upset when your deals don't work out. But Gary, if you got a good deal, then do it. Okay. I'm just looking back at the beginning here. Let's see. What's up, Jonathan? I always appreciate Jonathan's been out here for a while. Give a shout out to Mark. Hey, Mark, I did get your message the other day, but I had a family engagement and my wife would have killed me if I left. I had to go to one of my daughter's events. So I truly do appreciate it. Trust me. I just, unfortunately, I could not even be in the studio to do that. My wife would have killed me if I picked up the cell phone. So, but keep me in mind for anything else. So I appreciate you. So, Loft says, say it loud and proud. We got to stop being ashamed of being wholesalers, guys. Like, I don't give a crap. 98% of the country you can wholesale in. So if you've been one of these people that want to just focus on the 2 to 3%, oh God, they've restricted this part, I'm going to die. Stop it. It's fine. You'll live. Remember, the main person that's going to create problems in wholesaling for you is the seller. And if you're not truly out here to help the seller, then you're going to have a problem. It doesn't even matter. Even back in the beginning, if a seller was just, they felt like you duped them, you lied to them, you manipulated them, they don't show up to the closing table, you file a memorandum, say it goes to court. Who do you think the judge is going to side with? Like, seriously, who? Gee, the professional investor. Well, I haven't even done a deal that. You're much more professional than the homeowner. You went out and sought the homeowner and you did not fulfill your obligation, Why should they stay in this deal? And that's what a judge is going to say to you. Now, I've had the unfortunate privilege of being in front of a judge more times than I care to do it. And sometimes I'm the plaintiff, sometimes the defendant. I've lost count of how many times I've been sued before. But in the beginning, I got sued for stupid things. I thought like the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. I got sued over a $10 deposit once. I've been sued for I've been sued under what do you call it? Daisy chained wholesale properties. And we have to understand you just learn lessons from it when you go forward. But the one thing I've always said, if you ever have a question in wholesaling, just simply do this. Number one, take care of your seller. If you take care of your seller and your seller backs you up, you rarely can get in trouble in wholesaling unless you commit fraud. So in the end, you're either going to get an affidavit from your homeowner or a testimony from your homeowner, and that's the person who owned the property originally. That's the only person, in my opinion, that can completely take you out unless you commit fraud. Period. Number two, if you're doing something and it doesn't feel right and you get this little tickle in your stomach, I want you to think about this. If you had to stand in front of a judge tomorrow and explain what you're doing, would you still do it? And that should answer all your questions to do that. Sometimes we just learn when we're younger. Sometimes you guys got to learn when you're older. But remember, if it does not serve the homeowner, if you're not helping solve a problem and you're trying to make quick cash by really not providing a service, that's not wholesaling. Go do your novation, go do your little memorandum things, but please don't lump it up with us wholesalers. I'm here to help people that actually want to solve problems. Guys, there's a certain amount of society that just need the convenience of selling their house fast, and they need the speed and the professionalism a wholesaler provides. Why do you think there's a pawn shop on almost every other corner? Except dispensaries now. They seem to be on every corner. I think they offer speed and convenience in a different way, but we're no difference. You ever go to Costco and go, how much did you buy that bread before you buy it? They probably bought it for a quarter and you're paying $3.99 for it. But you're getting 15 loaves at Costco. One just opened up in my area. It's absolutely nuts what's going on with that. So I'm going to address one more comment here. We'll jump on this. Somebody put on here that I heard double closing is illegal. So guys, I'm just here to tell you, I'm going to go over this in grave detail tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern on Flip with Rick. If double closing becomes illegal, all real estate's dead. It's all dead. You can't do it anymore. Think a double closing is two separate closings where you take title to a property and then you just resell it with speed instead of waiting 3 years. So a double closing, it can't be illegal, and nobody can tell you. The word intent gets thrown around a lot in wholesaling, which I don't understand it. So the problem is intent is a double-edged sword. So think about this. If I did 20 contracts and I assigned every one of those contracts, according to intent, that means my 21st one's guaranteed to be an assignment of the contract, right? In theory. Here's the problem though. Say I commit a crime. I go and say I got put in a penitentiary for 3 or 5 years. And we see this in society all day. They come out and nobody will give you a job because they believe your intent is to commit a future crime. But you've served your time. You've repaid your set to society. Does that mean that person's intent, they're basically dead? They can never get a job. They can never have a family. They can't be voting. And it's ridiculous. Nobody can get in your intent. You can do patterns if they're patterns of malicious, if you constantly commit fraud and hurt people. But I got to be honest, if I close on 100 kind of transactions, if 50 of them are via assignment, 25 I funded myself, and the other ones are subject to creative financing on that, how are you going to know what my intent is on all my future transactions? Oh, no, he has the ability. And all I tell you guys is go out and get the ability. It's never been easier than to get a line of credit, to get a JV partner. Go to sellmypaper.com. I'll help you out. But you got to find real deals. I believe some of this smoke and wholesaling will get rid of the real crappy deals, which you guys should be doing anyways. That's just my saying on it. So, okay, let me keep moving here. It's good Lord. Okay. Oh God, you guys, some of these are funny. Aaron says 20 years people doing wholesale, no problem. I've been doing it 23 years. I've never had a problem. I've had problems, but like we're trying to manufacture problems. And if we gave that same energy to helping people out, maybe making people's courses much more transparent, maybe stop telling people they're going to get rich overnight, and maybe stop labeling videos that I stole this house from a homeowner and wonder why we get bad press in this business. Stop promoting novation courses and stop telling people to record memorandums. Maybe we wouldn't have to go through all this crap in wholesaling. But once again, focus on what you can control. If you're going to constantly consider, oh my God, if they ban it, what am I going to do? I don't know. Just go over here. Like, it's simple. It's so simple. Why are people giving this so much energy? Do you know you can't talk and drive on a car and a cell phone? You can do it with a handset, I believe. Like, yeah, I remember I thought it was like when they passed the law to put on your seatbelt. I was one of these kids that never had a seatbelt. Why? Because I only had that lap belt when I was a kid. Now you get a ticket for not having a seatbelt. It's smart. So, okay. Let's see. Lucas says 40% of his deals are liens. That's awesome. What else I got? What's up, Francis? How you doing, man? Kenji, I appreciate you. I appreciate the kind comments. So I appreciate it. Let's see here. Okay. Kenji, the thing about moving notes, that's like a whole nother, just so you know, note buying is really, it's not a wholesaling strategy. It is a real estate investor strategy, and it's not a bad one. But you're going to have to spend at least 100 hours into it to understand it. And to me, to teach it, like, especially in this hour, would be a major disservice to you. So there's plenty of people that teach courses on it. It's not, but you got to understand, a note is just, you're buying an asset. That's it. And a non-performing asset 9 times out of 10. So the note is not indicative that you're going to be able to get a great deal on a piece of real estate. So the control will always be with the homeowner, the person on title. And if you understand that, that's what you definitely you want to do. So, by the way, if you guys were on Zach's channel last night, it was very interesting. People were coming out trying to attack, oh, is Zach real and stuff like that. I promise you, all the checks we show, everything we do, and I don't even show them all the time anymore because it's so ridiculous. People still say, oh, they're fake. I'm like, dude, guys, I've been doing this 23 years. I have more title companies. I have more people I've done in this business. Every title company knows me in my area. All my partners know me all over the country with all the title companies I work with. Come on, man. Like, that's fine. You can attack my son. Just because you think he's young, he ain't dumb. He's very good at what he does. And I find it very funny when you guys try to coordinate attack on him, and he just shows you the receipts and everybody shuts up. And that's how it should be. So it's, anybody says I don't do the business, come on, let's you want to go HUDs? Let's go HUDs. What do you want to do? Like, I constantly have to do this 23 years, still have to do it. So my son's only, what, 8.5 years, and you got a problem with it? Like, come on. Oh, nobody can be that successful. That's why you're broke. So we got to stop all that stuff. So, okay. Awesome. Okay. Let's take that off here. Wait a minute. Okay. And Vincent, what's going on, man? Long time no speak.
Rick, how everything been, man?
Good, man. I'm turning it up, man. How you doing?
I've been great, man. I've been blessed. Had a pretty good year last year.
Yeah.
Still on the grind, man. It's almost gonna be 4 years coming up in September.
Good, man. What's going on, man? What can I help you out with?
So now I put some money into PPL.
Okay.
So I got this lead, and I was trying to get my money back with the company because this seller was not answering, right? Yeah. So they've been reaching out to the person, and they text them or whatever, and I guess they replied to their text. So they said they can't give me back my money because the person did want to sell a property. So I drove to the property today, and I tell you, this property, man, it's like it's so messed up. Like they got the wasp nest in front of all the doors.
Oh,
the
Lord.
pool is horrible. But it had like a newer car in the driveway. So I'm like, is somebody living here? So the best I could do was I kept knocking on the door, kept knocking on the windows. I was there for like 30 minutes. I kept calling them when I was there. So I put a sticky note on one of the sliding doors.
Yeah.
And I put my business card in the car. So I'm trying to figure out, like, is there any way else? Like, they still haven't hit me back today. That was this morning. And so I'm curious. I'm like, what other ways is possible you think I could get in touch with this seller? Because it's been almost, I want to say the whole month, like at least 3 weeks almost.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, because maybe you can help us out, because you got a little experience under you, so you're a good case. What's your experience been with PPL, and how long you've been working with it?
So I put about, I want to say it has gave me leads.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't closed any. It's been probably about 4 months now.
Yeah.
I put about $2,000 into it.
Okay, that's not too bad.
So I've got, don't get me wrong, I got house appointments. Don't get me wrong, I've been going to houses, but these sellers not motivated enough for a cash offer.
I got it. So listen, I'm going to give you a little preface, because you told me it's a PPL lead. So PPL is kind of cool. In theory, it's incredible, right? Like when you hear the theory of it, right? Hey, I'll give you motivated sellers. I'm like, we all want to go, okay, I'm going to stop everything Rick and Zach did, and I'm just going to do that. Dude, I've tried. Listen, I used to do when they're $30 to $35 a lead. Now that we still had challenges back then. In my area, it's $450 for one lead, $450. And when you call to ask for a refund, no dice. Like you get one or two, that's it. I'm not going to use names here. And so the problem is I watch a lot of influencers and like a lot of people, and they'll rattle off 15, 20 leads that are given to them, the top of the top cream crop. And it's the same thing. They occasionally get a deal on it. But I got to tell you, if I had to go 1 out of 15 or 1 out of 20, I'm going to go broke. Like I can't get a return on it. And my biggest problem is the lack of motivation of these people, because they're just like, they keep testing the water. I'm going to enter this side. I'm going to enter this side. I'm going to enter this side. I'm going to call this guy. And they call 15 wholesalers, and I'm not going to be the highest bidder. So I give up on them. That's the challenge with it. They excite you just enough to tease you to keep spending you money. I'm not saying they don't work, but like they don't work for me. Because I can't get anyone to like take action, because it just comes down to the number. And usually they're the worst freaking properties, just like you said. I mean, the absolute worst of the worst. And I'm like, I can't pay you 15 grand over what everybody, like your last bid. It's just not going to happen. And then they take months to go on, and they keep entering in leads, and they keep popping up. I sat with an investor. I'm not even going to say the name. He called on 12 leads. I go, just show me. Like somebody, like I really want this to work. 10 out of the 12 wouldn't even, they couldn't even answer the phone, nothing. 10 out of the 12. And I think he was paying like $280 a lead. And I'm like doing the math. I'm like, that's the problem. It's so hit or miss in PPL. And PPL now is going, they're having problems with the SEO on, sell your house fast for cash. It's expensive, and all the fees have gone up. And they're going back to cold calling, sending you guys cold call leads. So I'm going to tell you, I don't believe PPLs have the highest motivation. They're just people. They're people that want to sell, that need to sell, and they're stuck right in between. And they're like, and as you know, all real estate's unique. Depends on the market, the condition of the property. And it's just, you can't sell it like something like, you ever sell something on eBay, man? It's like torture. It's no matter how nicely I wrap it. Somebody used to complain when I didn't have a lot of money. I'm like, I didn't send it that way. And it's like, honestly, eBay is the internet of garage sales. I hate garage sales. I hate anything on eBay. It never works out the way it's supposed to. And then when it comes to PPL, it's not that I'm biased against it. I just don't think you're getting a return on your investment. You don't want to go through all this crap, Vincent, to make maybe a 5 to 10% return. And that's the problem. And that I'm just telling you with PPL, like I can't wrap my head around it. Whenever we go through the leads, we can, And by the way, I've noticed when anyone ever goes through PPL leads, I never see a contract. I never see the final outcome. They go, somebody did one the other day and the guy goes, I'll think about it. And they're they're dancing around like they just made $100,000. If I had a nickel for every time somebody said, think about it, and me and Zach trained for how to framework. So you don't have to get to, I'll think about it. I'll check on my wife. I'll check on my lawyer. And these are same people that make fun of the way I do it. I just like, if I thought PPL worked, I would dive into it. I would make it the biggest affiliate. We just can't make it work. And all these companies, they don't like me and Zach because I know the truth hurts, man. Sometimes someone's just got to say it. I think the anything that you have to bid up based on demand, you're going to get in trouble for, unless you catch it early.
My biggest thing is I don't mind like the whole business model. I get it, but like you said, what's the reason these people are not picking the phones up?
They're just because they believe they have a million options. They're stuck between want to sell and need to sell. I teach you to gravitate towards the ones that need to sell. Are they harder? Yes. I don't even hide that from you. But this is my problem with PPL. I spent less than like 60 grand on it. I think we might've made a little, like we might've broke even, but by the time I paid the staff and everything, I'm like, there's a reason. If you go look at the really, really big companies, none of them do it. Like you realize that because they have to run a business. And if I run a business, if I put money in, I got to get a multiplier to get it back out.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's roulette. You go in, you get a good deal. But the one thing I've noticed most PPL, most of them are under 20, 15 grand. And so you need some home runs like probates and stuff like that to make your business model work.
Right.
So even when I do direct mail, my worst is 5 times return.
Yeah. And that's
nobody will talk about a return on PPL because whenever you have to demand and you have to pay market price, you're screwed. But people make fun of me about direct mail. I'm like, it's a fixed cost. I stack the deck in my favor and I give it time and I work through it.
Right.
Guys, if you're getting them for 20, 30 bucks a lead and they're exclusive, go for it. If they're a couple $100, I don't know if you want to test it out, but I would put a cap on it.
Yeah.
And at some point, because these marketing companies, you realize they're marketing companies, they scare the shit out of me because, I don't know, just one more month, you can do it. And every one time they can get someone to drag on. And by the way, they're recruiting all you guys just like you. I don't fault you for trying it. But the more people that jump in it, the higher the price goes. If you would all stop like pulling back, it would go back down to $30, $35 a lead. But as long as we got people willing to pay for it, and now they got the club, they got like coupons and it's like,
you know who we talking about then.
Yeah, and it's listen, I got nothing against it. Listen, it's a capitalistic society, but like you gotta understand as a wholesaler, if you want to take that business model, you're not gonna like. There's no way to sustain it, in my opinion.
That was my plan. I was like, hey, you know what? Let me see what to put a certain amount of here. Then let's do direct mail next. You know, and that was my biggest thing. Was, you know, maybe I could get if I just get one deal out of $2,000, like, hey, I won. You know what I mean?
No, I know, but like find out when you get, and then I'll tell you, well, if you spend like 6, you probably get a deal. It's like that's how you get baited into it. And don't get me wrong, in direct mail, you got to commit to 3 months, and on average, I tell people it's going to be about 10 grand into it. But I am extremely confident. You give me 10 grand in direct mail, you give me 10 grand in PPL, I can crush
10 grand.
Mail. It's a different psychology, and my problem is, I don't like to pay market price as an investor. It goes against the entire grain. Market price is for the end user, not us.
Right.
And as long as they keep playing that game with us,
right.
The only exception is if you had a business partner that had SEO experience, they knew how to do all that stuff. Even then, though, you're still like, I watched the biggest competitor come in Florida. They're spending $125,000 a month on PPL, and they couldn't make it work.
Wow.
I've seen it multiple times over and over. And I know 12 of the largest wholesalers in the country, and it's not the center of their marketing model. So I'm like, I'm not an idiot. I wasn't born yesterday. Okay. It is definitely not a beginner strategy. So just make sure you put a cap on it and just keep following up. But that's my problem is like to get these people like to make a decision. They're looking for a certain number. And if you hit it, you can have the deal. But the problem is the number usually doesn't make you a lot of money. And
or it's not doable.
Yeah, it's like that's it. So like, why sit here and waste time with it? I have no leverage over a PPL. Why? Because they don't want to know, they don't want to share their story. They don't want to get to know you. They just want a price. And if you just want to be a cash buyer, for God's sakes, just like go work, just go be a fix and flipper or a realtor. I'm not going to give advice on PPL because I see so many problems with it. And none of these companies will tell you what the average return is.
Right.
They won't tell you what the connection rate is. And I don't know about you, but you ever fill out an internet form? We all have fake emails. We all have fake phone numbers. It's out of control. So how do I know, even when I'm buying that information, that I'm getting real phone numbers and real data? Because if I got to pay like $200 to $500 a lead, you better damn well make sure I'm getting real leads, right?
And that's the thing I would say. It is good, I would say, for a realtor, because that's the only way you would probably see a quicker return.
Yeah, you know my deal on you've heard me about Facebook leads, right? I've tried this strategy extensively. There's good people that teach it. They're not bad people, but here's the problem. I went back to 2016, 17. We thought that was the wave of the future. Dude, the amount of money, and they were cheap leads. And that's the problem. Whenever someone tells you they're cheap leads, that doesn't mean crap. It just means you're spending money and not getting anywhere. You're spending about $12 to $18 a lead. The average time to nurture for a Facebook real estate lead was 18 months. Ready for this? As a realtor. Do you know what it is for a wholesaler? It's like a nightmare. It's like 2 years plus.
Yeah.
And so the problem is, if I have to put 200 hours into every lead, I'm working for free, man.
Yeah.
And I don't think people go to Facebook, go, hell, I'm gonna sell my crappy house today.
Yeah.
They'll go to Google, and you're gonna have to pay for it. And so we're all gonna keep working on it. It'd be nice to find a company that would just dominate PPL and just have a very blatant way they did it. But they raised, like, it's like in South Florida, we pay like twice what like the normal market pays for. I'm sure California, New York, the same thing. And it's like Uber. You ever been to Uber and like a cloud comes over and your price doubles? It's like, I'm getting to the point I don't even want to use Uber anymore. It's super convenient, but it's a nightmare. Like they monetize everything, and that's my problem. And now the only people pushing PPL are basically influencers. Why? They get it for free.
Yeah.
And they get commit. So when you spend your $2,000, they're getting probably 10 to 20% of that. And if they went away, nobody would ever use it again. And that's a little bit of the problem. So there's a reason me and Zach don't like, we've tried it. If I go through 10 people's actual data, maybe 1 out of 10 maybe made a 15 to 25% return. To me, that's very high risk, very low return for what it does. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I got nothing against any of these companies, but whenever you have to bid something at market rate, it's going to be a problem in any type of business. No business can survive paying full market rate forever.
You're right.
And that's the problem with PPL. And if we all choked it out a little bit, I was hoping some of those laws went into effect. They repealed them. I was hoping demand would drop, and then you would get people that are reasonable that would get you leads. So I would find every way to get your government list and some of the other stuff you're doing, or even consider direct mail. Direct mail is not as bad as you guys think it is, but there is a logic that goes through with it. Okay.
That definitely was my next plan. Like I said, I didn't try certain different, like, of course, cold calling's gonna be the thing. And like I said, I got a reverse drawing for dollars. I actually got a call back a couple of days ago from a lady, and also I was calling you about too. It's like, hey, she said, I got the sticky note on my house. What's going on? I said, hey, just seeing if you was interested in selling the property. And she's like, yeah, actually going through probate now. And so I was like, hey, you free to meet up at the property here soon? She's like, probably on the weekend. I'm going to work. So I literally came back. I was actually at a house then. And I came back to my house, and I sent her like, just to like, how is that, I would be a part of the fix and flip process. Like, hey, this is my company. This is the third. And she literally texted me, stop. So I'm like, and I text like, hey, this is Vincent. Like, we just spoke, earlier. You said you could give me a call this evening. Did I say something wrong? and she didn't never text me back. So then I called her in like a couple hours. She was like, "Hey, I'm gonna call you back later. You don't have to worry me," or something like that. I'm like, I wasn't trying to worry you. I was just giving you just show my legitimacy. So I don't know if I should just lay low, like don't press her. Like I don't know if I.
Well, listen, here's my theory, because I've dealt with so many motivated sellers over the year. There is a line, and this line is not, it's not black and white. And I say in the beginning, you're better to push the line than to stay behind the line. Occasionally in wholesaling, you have to cross the line, and you're going to lose some deals by being too pushy. Mm-hmm. But I see more deals lost by people just, okay, okay, I'll come back tomorrow. And after a while, there's no, like, unless you got an ESP, you have no idea what the outcome is. So here's how I look at it. After people at a repetitive pattern don't do what they say they're going to do, I then push them. Because here's how I look at it. What do I have to lose?
Right.
Like, they're just wasting my time. And that's when I usually go for the Hail Mary. And I usually say something pretty outrageous just to shock them. I go, did I piss you off? Like, is it the color of my hair? You just think I'm ugly? And they go, oh, no. They go, why would you say that? I go, because I've been here 3 times. And first you told me you had to check it out with your wife. Then you told me your sister. And now you're telling me your other sister, but you told me you only had one sister before. So either you're making up stories or I'm ugly. Mm-hmm. Which is it? And you got to get a moment of truth and have them push back. Now, I've been kicked out for that, but I'd rather get kicked out. The worst thing you can do as wholesaling is play with someone forever. Like that girl, like, remember when you're young and you didn't have the player mentality, and you wanted to ask her out, but you were too scared to get rejected. So you remained her friend. Right. And then you watch your best buddy ask her out and be like this dream girlfriend for 2 years. And you go back 10 years later, and she goes, why didn't you ever ask me out? You're like, damn. Mm-hmm. And it's just like that. So find that line. And sometimes in the beginning, you just keep crossing it over because you don't know any better. But after a while, you find a way to zigzag back and forth on it. Yeah. And to this day, I still piss people off, but you got to piss some people off to get what you want. But like when a little old lady, we do everything right. And we'll bring in a family member, a lawyer. And she goes, I really know what the value is. She's not lying. In the beginning, I thought they were all lying to me. Some of them just didn't know. Right. Some of them had dementia. They needed help. And it's like, you just got to find that line. And after a while, it is a common sense thing. And it's all in our some people are hyper aggressive and they have to understand to stay back on this side of the line. And some that are extremely reserved where they agree with everyone, they never cross the line. So you got to be the person that you zigzag all the time. So you don't get yelled at a little bit. It means you're being too conservative.
Yeah. The reason I wasn't trying to press it too much because it was a probate. So that's why I was just like, hey, somebody passed away. I ain't trying to be aggressive. But I definitely sent her my information and I called her. So I'm like, well, let me just wait a couple of days and then, respond back to her and see what's going on. But I was curious on how you would approach it, but that's cool.
Well, listen to this. It always comes down, me and Zach always talk about people's confidence. I'm just going to say this out. This is going to be a brutal statement, but it's true. Confidence, I hate to tell you, it's just something you take. Mm-hmm. You don't take it from anyone. You take it from yourself. And confidence is by doing something you say you're going to do and just do it, regardless of the outcome. That's what confidence is. You might get crapped all over, but I tell you, I just, the people who just I love to watch a reserved person. I go, just go out there and cross that line. And I teach them to do it with me. And then I teach them to do it with their sellers. After a while, I go, it doesn't hurt. The only thing that bothers you is the reaction. And here's how you do it. You have to put a definition and meaning to someone's reaction. And if you let it bother you, that's the only way it can piss you off. So just take your confidence, say it. And when they react, if it's not the way you want to go, listen, I'm just sorry you feel that way. That's it. It's not my problem. Right. The biggest problem in society is we just react to what people say to us. And how you interpret what someone says to you is solely on you. It's on nobody else. And that, a lot of you guys have problems in wholesaling because you get really butthurt about stuff like that. I expect to be rejected by 9 out of 10 people I deal with. I don't care anymore. I wish I took this attitude in high school. I didn't. I was the opposite. I want to make everybody happy. Now I'm just like, listen, if it distracts me, if it wastes my time, if it doesn't move me forward, I don't want to work with you, period. And that's why I love working with all of you. So just zigzag that line, and eventually you'll find your comfort, and you'll find limits to go, man, I went too far, and go, man, I didn't go far enough. And then you constantly just keep going left and right. There is never one perfect line you're going to down, dude. It never works. I promise you. So you're doing it right. Just keep going and update me. Let me know what happens with the PPL, because I would love to hear more about it.
Yeah, I will for sure.
You got it, Vince. So don't let it disappoint you. But this is the common theme we hear throughout the industry. And it's like, the problem is PPL companies are only going to tell you the upside. And remember, they're marketing companies, and they specialize in teaching you to solve a problem. What if I filled your inbox with motivated sellers so full you couldn't even open anymore, Mike? Okay. It's like, we don't ask questions like, hey, what's the average lead? How do I know I get real information? How do I know they're motivated? What's your closing percentage? What's the average ROI? Let me work on getting you that. You'll never get it. And that's the problem. It's different for every person. Everybody cuts a deal. And now we're watching people on phone on PPL leads, and you have no idea if they're getting the best leads, if they're handpicked. Maybe we need to find a way to get like connected with the PPL employees and just get like the back door. And by the way, let me ask you this. If I have a database of, say, like 50 smoking hot leads, you're telling me that's not being shoved to certain people?
Exactly. And that's
it's not like it's hundreds of thousands, right, Vincent? It's like 50.
Some of these leads that come up, when I try to get on there to buy it real quick, it's like it's already gone. And I'm like, come on, man. That was it has to be somebody that already.
Like, you got to get sniper software just for it. Maybe I should. That's what I should do. We should create a sniper software for all the PPL. But
that's why I beat her. You're right. It's like, it don't.
No, they have that in eBay. They have like the sniper at the end. You get down the last 10 seconds, and it like does an automatic bidding for you. And you know who sells that? eBay does. So they'll eventually sell a sniper one too. We'll see what happens. But I got to run, Vincent. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Rick, thanks so much, man. You take care.
Okay, man. Keep us updated.
Yes,
see you. So I love that guy, dude. I just think it's so. Listen, PPL. Listen, I wish they would fulfill what they say they're going to do, but like it's like a pipe dream, buddy. Give me the ROIs, the numbers. Like, there's no transparency, and like, you're a marketing company. Like, I get it, and I get it. If I don't support it, then I'm the enemy. And see, that's the problem. That's how politicians work. If you don't see my side, then you're the enemy. No, I'm just the wise one that decided not to sell my soul and give people the truth. And then in return, they can choose who they want to do business with. So guys, listen, wholesaling's legal. It's ready to go. There's a small minority out there. Yes, is it pushing and making headways, but it's a minority. If you're spending all your time consuming with this, you're wasting your time. It is the distraction. Politicians are masters at it. It is moved over into wholesaling. We all agree nobody wants this crap. It's ridiculous. Join me tomorrow, 1 o'clock. We're going to deep dive into this, and we're going to talk about the implications. We're going to talk about some solutions. And most importantly, what you can do and what you shouldn't be wasting your time doing. Because if you're always going to worry about something going wrong, you probably shouldn't be wholesaling. So my whole thing is, we can fix the industry. Why don't we start with the course creators, and then they give transparency, how many students they have, what's their average success rate, what is the cost? My God, why is this such a mystery? And can we at least look at the coursework? And can we have at least a 3-day right of rescission if we don't agree with your course? It's not living up. We start there. Then we start with our state representatives, and you guys can do that part now. And then I believe the extra one is we do a national fund where we put money in. You have a board. You guys voted in. And when someone gets sued for the wrong reasons, I mean, they did everything right, and they impeded on their federal constitutional right to states not impeding on contract, we get one case law. I promise you, every one of these would go away. But we all have a different way to do it. I support whatever makes the business better, but we got to start with ourselves. Start with the people that supply the courses and be much more transparent with your pricing, how many students you have, all that other fun stuff, and a 3-day right of rescission. If you're going to give buyers a 3-day right of rescission, I give you a lifetime rescission. Why? Because I believe in you and I want to earn your trust, and that's what I want to do. So guys, check out xleads.com if you got a moment with it. Go over to freewholesaling.com. Check us out there. I'll be on tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's have fun. I'll see you guys then. Later.